Hi, my name is Drew Coleman. I'm a financial advisor with the Next Level Planning Group. I'm excited to be here today because today we are launching our new series called 10 for 10. The concept behind 10 for 10 is that less is more. In the past, we've done longer format videos, typically ranging between 30 and 60 minutes. But today we start with a new series where each video is roughly 10 minutes. We do a deeper dive into one concept, one idea, one strategy. And today we want to dig into the concept of 401k millionaires and lessons for investors. Before I start, I've got a few disclosures to share with you on this page and on this page. And today, just as we were talking about 401k millionaires, remember the show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Much like the game show, I'll be asking questions for you. And the endeavor, of course, will be, how do we get $2 million? But unlike the game show, you may not have enough time to phone a friend or even poll the audience for help. In an effort to make sure that we're all on the same page, what is a 401k? Well, it's a retirement savings vehicle only available through US employers that offers tax advantages. Since around the 1980s, there's been a gradual shift from pension plans to 401ks as the primary means that US workers plan and save for retirement. Contributions can be made with pre-tax or post-tax dollars, and all contributions come right out of the employee's paycheck. It's through payroll deduction. Some employers, to incentivize savings and to incentivize planning for retirement, offer a matching contribution. And lastly, what I wanted to share here is that in order to disincentivize people from taking money out of their 401k plans early, there's often a 10% penalty withdrawals before age 59 and a half. Now I want to share some 401k millionaire statistics with you. So this is from Fidelity. And there are 401ks at many platforms beyond just Fidelity. There are 401ks at T. Rowe Price, at Vanguard, at Principal, just to name a few. So these statistics are exclusively from Fidelity. And as of the end of 2021, Fidelity noted there were 442,000 unique 401k millionaires. However, as the market declined in 2022, that number dropped down to 299,000 distinct 401k millionaires. Over all of the separate, unique 401k accounts at Fidelity, there are 21.5 million accounts. And of those, 1.4% have in excess of $1 million. So looking at that number, you might think, geez, it's really challenging to become a 401k millionaire. There are not very many people who even reach that point. But what I want to share with you is that, in fact, it's really not that hard. Now, you can't just go ahead and just put as much as you want into a 401k in the endeavor to reach $1 million. In fact, there are contribution limits. You can only put in so much into your 401k every single year. And what you're seeing here is the contribution limits from 2000 through 2011. And we can see in 2000, the most you could put into a 401k was $10,500. And as we go forward through time, in 2002, that number had increased to 11,000. And there is also what is known as a catch-up contribution. So anyone aged 50 and over can also put in an extra $1,000 in 2002. And we see that through time, up through 2011, those numbers steadily rose. So by the end of 2011, anyone under the age of 50 could put in 16,500, and anyone over the age of 50 could put in another 5,500. These numbers continue. We can see them here through 2012 through 2023. And what you're seeing now is that the most someone can put into a 401k is $30,000 if they're 50 or over. And if they're under 50, then they can put in 22,500. And the numbers that we see here will be foundational for the questions that I pose over the remainder of today's session. And the first question is, well, how much money would you have at the end of 2023 if you're able to contribute the maximum into your 401k every single year during this 23-year period and experienced a 6% annual growth rate. And that 6% annual growth rate is not a guarantee. It's just a number I'm using to provide a reference point of an idea of the amount of growth you might receive. And we're looking at these numbers right here. If this was the most you could put in, what would you have with a 6% annual growth rate? And what we see is that at the end of this 23-year period, you'd have $814,400 in your 401k. And all that you would have contributed into it is $392,000. Not too bad, but not quite yet a 401k millionaire. And that leads us to the next question. Well, if 23 years and the contribution limits associated with 2000 to 2023 doesn't quite get you to $1 million, well, how many more years would you have to save in order to reach $1 million inside of your 401k and that you continue to experience a 6% annual growth rate? Well, in fact, it's 3 more years. In 2026, you would have $1.046 million, just 3 more years to 2026. And all that you would have to contribute into your 401k is $459,500. So what you're seeing here is it's not so much unique or special, but in fact, it's just consistency, always putting in the maximum to your 401k. It's a pretty steady approach, but by doing so, you'll ultimately reach $1 million into your 401k. And the last question, let's assume an average career of 40 years. You start working at 25, you retire at 65, you work 40 years, you're putting in the maximum amount you can every single year. We already know what you can put in from 2000 to 2023. That represents the first 23 years. Let's assume another 17 years, and we'll assume that what you can put into your 401k in 2023 is the amount you can put into your 401k for the next 17 years. So let's also continue to assume that 6% annual growth rate. Well, how much would you have? Well, it's a pretty cool number. It's over $3 million. $3,070,000. You'd be a millionaire 3 times over. And all that you would have put into your 401k is $894,500. And so what you can see is the formula to reach $1 million isn't that complicated. In fact, it's a bit boring. You just consistently save over and over and over. But boring can potentially do the job. It doesn't take massive amounts of annual savings. You're not saving $100,000, $200,000 in any one year. In some years, you only save $10,500, as you did in 2000. But it's just that steady approach that gets you to $1 million, and that steady approach with compounding that gets you to $1 million. And lastly, it's consistency is the key to success. Not random or haphazard, but a consistent plan of always saving, always doing the max, ultimately gets you to the point of having that dollars. Well, thank you. Thank you for participating. I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you again soon, the next time we have our next session.